Hi guys, tonight I am talking with my friend Alpha Female Tactical. Her name is Katrina, and we're going to talk about the best ways to conceal carry for women. What should you be carrying? How should you be carrying on your body, off your body? If you're going to carry off your body, how is that going to look? Is it safe to carry off your body? Is it safer to carry on your body? What options do we have as women? Because we have different outfits that we're wearing, and I want to talk about what are the best ways to carry. So let's get Katrina on here. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Go ahead, introduce yourself for my audience, know who you are.
Hey everyone, I am Katrina. I am the owner and manager of Alpha Female Tactical out here in Florida. So we do women's self-defense and firearms training here in the Panhandle. So if anyone's looking for a fun beach vacation and some lead therapy, y'all should come out and see us.
That is my goal in the winter to come down, because that would be so much fun, and also like we can work out together and shoot together.
All the things, all the above.
Literally. And I am Maddie Martinez. I'm a women's health and fitness coach, and I focus on helping women get stronger, become more capable of protecting themselves, and living a fuller life. So I met Katrina just from like literally social media, and I was like, oh, she's cool. And then we just started talking, and she helped me a lot getting started into firearms training. So that's why we've been doing lives and talking about different things. And today I want to talk about like what are the best ways to carry as a woman, because I get a ton of, it's like YouTube only, I swear. Like I get a ton of YouTube comments, and a lot of them are like, oh, you shouldn't carry this way. You should only carry on your body, not off your body. I mean, I get the wildest comments, even showing my Zendira bag. Someone was like, oh, just wait until you struggle to open it with the zipper, when we both know you don't have to use the zipper for a Zendira bag. But that's what I want to talk about tonight, so we can kind of just dive into that.
Yeah. And that's the wild world of YouTube and also TikTok. Like you get the most haters on those, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people always ask like what's the best, and it's like asking what's the best firearm to carry.
Mhm.
Well, at the end of the day, it really comes down to what's best for you, what's most comfortable for you, what you can handle appropriately and safely. So like I share all of my favorite stuff, but knowing that it may or may not work for other people.
Yeah.
Like my body type, my size, my flat chest and body like is totally different than a lot of other women, so I share what works for me, knowing it could help someone might try it like, nah, I hate it. So I use a variety though, and usually when it comes to concealed carry, you're gonna have more than one option. Unfortunately, it's unless you literally wear the same thing every day
Hmm.
and do the same thing every
Hmm.
day, it's really hard to get away with one single, concealed carry option. So I love that they're coming out with so many options now, and they are making a lot of more female friendly options. Just know too, going into it, it's going to be an investment, and it's probably going to be a lot of trial and error. But there's a lot of like groups out there and YouTube videos and things of other people sharing what works for them. So you might be able to kind of narrow it down to some options. Like for me, I have a variety. So I'll do my inner waistband holster. This is for my Glock 43X with the ulti clip, because this clip function here allows you to wear it on pants without a belt. So that's kind of a cool option. I love my flashbang holster for like my bra. This is for my little Ruger LCP Max. So this is for like a very small firearm, because being smaller, flat chested, it is very hard for me to conceal and not print, because I'll be honest, most of my guns are bigger than my boobs. So,
Same.
it doesn't
Same.
make it any easier when it comes to concealment. Like I've literally joked around and I stuffed dryer balls in my shirt just to prove a point that women with a larger chest can conceal on their appendix more easily, because your chest pushes out your shirt. So it's easier for me. Like, no, it doesn't. And then, of course, one of my go-to options and favorites is the Zendira magnetic Friday crossbody. This one lays across your body, so it's close. It goes across the back. I know there's a lot of purse options. I personally like something that's a crossbody and is close. I would never personally carry my firearm in a large just shoulder bag, because,
Hmm.
when it comes down to the argument of purse snatching, that's going to be, easy for that argument for someone to just rip it right off your shoulder.
Yeah.
Or usually a purse carry ends up being something that you cram a bunch of stuff in and then it gets heavy and then you're more likely to take it off and set it down. So I like this one. It's small, it's close to my body. I can throw a little jacket on over the strap if I am concerned about someone grabbing it. With that, I'm totally understanding of the argument. Carry on your body. It's safer, it's better, it's faster, it's whatever. Um, it, I see both sides because with some instances, I've trained with this so much. I've learned I'm actually faster, if not the same, as my appendix draw, depending on what I'm wearing. Because if you're wearing an appendix carry and then it's the wintertime and you've got a tank top and then a sweatshirt and then a vest and a jacket, like now you've got a bunch of layers to try to lift up to get to your firearm when I could just have this on top and I just reach in. So it's really dependent on your outfit, the situation, your activity, what you're doing, and then situational awareness, of course.
Yeah. And I have this Indira Friday bag, and then I should have grabbed it, but a different bag where they have one compartment that you can actually lock. So if you were to put it down, let's say at someone's house, you can't get into it. I'm sure if you had like a knife, you could cut it open. But, if you're out somewhere and there's kids there for, whatever reason, they at least couldn't open it. And I have just practiced in my house, like, opening up, and I'm like, oh, this is like, it's a lot different having a zipper compared to having magnets. I definitely appreciate the magnets more, but I have other random bags. There's another bag I have, I'm forgetting the name, but it's like a crossbody. It's probably like this big. It fits my Sig Sauer like totally fine because it's small enough to fit in there. But again, I'm dealing with the zipper, but like if I'm going somewhere where I want it, not the Zindier bag where it's like a little bit of a cuter bag. We went to the strip district over the weekend, and I used that one. It looks more kind of like my Zindier bag is like a camo one. That's like if I'm going to a trail, they don't always match the occasion depending what you have. But I definitely do prefer not having a zipper after training. Like I was in Texas shooting at a tactical range, and just training with the magnet, I kept messing up multiple times because I've never trained and like actually shot with the bag using it. And that's why it's also important, I think, kind of like tying into like what's safer, what's better. You have to train whatever method you're using. Like anyone could be just as fast, like you said, pulling from your hip compared to pulling out of a purse. It's just a matter of, are you training that method? And after that, I was like, I gotta train this more because I'm not.
That comes with all of them. Like even if you carry appendix, we teach that in our purses, pistols, and protection class. We train on and off body, and someone who's never done it before is going to struggle even with an appendix because until you build that muscle memory and you get your reps in, where like you lift the shirt, the gun comes out, as the muzzle's pointing away from your body and you're pushing out. Because what I notice, it reminds me a lot of personal training when you're teaching someone how to do an exercise until they like figure out their coordination or like mind to muscle connection. Like I hate to say it, people's coordination is pretty bad, to start until you figure it out. So I see a lot of like, pretend this is a firearm. They draw and they flick it out until they learn how to come up, with both hands and push it out from the chest. They'll lift the shirt and then like it flicks out, if that makes sense. And that just, it comes with practice. It comes with time. So whatever, method you choose to carry, you have got to practice in dry fire.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that dry firing is nice because I'm not able to go to the range every single time. And I've yet to find like a more outdoor tactical range around here. I mean, that's like a quick Google search, but I just haven't done that yet. But it does make such a difference because I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely like see myself using this. And then I used it and I was like, oh crap, like we definitely do need to train with that. And kind of like you, like I don't have a ton going on in the chest area. So I do have that flashbang. Is that the brand flashbang? I have that one and I used it, did not like it. It just, and pulling from there, like, because again, there's not a lot being held in my sports bra. So like the whole thing, I was like, I don't think this is for me.
like I said, everyone's gonna be different. I love this one, but I can't carry it with my Glock 43X, only with my Ruger LCP Max, which is like half the size. So it's
Yeah.
smaller, lighter. It works better on my sports bra because it's a little
Mhm.
thicker. But like my Glock 43X, it's like sagging. It's too heavy and it's too big for me. But I know women who use it with, a larger compact gun like that, and it works for them. It really just depends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And it's you find something that you like and then you just stick with it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the importance. Um, I was gonna ask, what for you, like what was the first one that you started carrying, like the way you started carrying compared to now it's just kind of like whatever fits the occasion?
Oh gosh, to be honest, so my husband bought me my first gun. It was a Taurus G2C, and that comes with a safety on it. So, because when I got it, and the guy at the gun store was even like, "Yeah, this is great, and it has a safety, and you can just like throw it in your
Oh,
purse."
I remember that, yeah.
That whole situation. So, but that honestly, that's what I did at first because I didn't know. Like I knew how to shoot firearms, but I was new to carrying. And it was kind of like, well, live in Florida now, things happen. It's something I should have on me at all times. So for a little while, I didn't keep one chambered, but I was just like throwing it in a side pocket in my purse, which is
No.
then upgraded to an actual concealed carry purse. My husband bought me my first one from Bass Pro. It was a Jesse James brand, and it
Mhm.
was okay. It was only one at the store that wasn't like a super country western like look to it, which is
Yeah.
not my style, not my
Mhm.
thing. So it was cool, but it strapped into like a universal just Velcro holster. It wasn't anything that like fit specifically to my firearm. Again, I didn't think much of it. I was like, cool, well, at least now it has a special pocket. But it was a long crossbody, so it hung low by my hip, and then there was a zipper on the back, and it was a slimmer purse. So by the time I put my firearm in it, I really couldn't put that many other things in the purse. Like it was like a small wallet and maybe my phone. And that was about it because I couldn't get my hand into that pocket
Mhm.
once the firearm was in the firearm pocket because it just made it too
Mhm.
bulky. And then having to fumble with a zipper, like it hung so low, so I'd have to like pull it up, unzip the zipper, and then reach in and like with the Velcro, and you're like reaching into Velcro and like scratching your hand. I don't know. It was, but I hadn't been exposed to really any other form of carrying yet, so I was like, okay, I guess this is just what people do. Like this is what's on the shelf at the store, so I guess this is what works.
Yeah.
Uh, and then obviously as we've grown as I've grown with firearms, I've learned, appendix carry and all the other options. And that's why we offer a class for it, because I can see the frustration or the fear or the discomfort that comes along with all of this.
Yeah, and I think the fear is a good way to, say it because like that is like, for me, I think the first time I carried I think I just had it in my Zendira bag, I think, when I went grocery shopping and I was like, "Oh my God, everyone knows."
Yeah.
That was my fear. Like everyone's gonna see this.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, like you just get comfortable with it. But not if I were to carry on my body, I think it would be such a like just juxtaposition to what I'm used to. I'd probably feel the same way because I'm not as confident carrying on my body because I just don't have the tools yet. Like I need to get like a different holster. I have I'm not sure, I can't remember what brand it is, but it's like they're like biker shorts and they have like a
Oh, yeah.
like thicker strap at the top and then you can
Mm-hmm.
just put a belt and then go there. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was at that range, that's what I was using and pulling from the hip, and that was great. I like that, but like I'm not going to go to the grocery store with that.
Yeah, unless you live in an open carry state, something like that isn't gonna fly. And
Yeah,
so, and yeah, that's where the struggle of concealment is, especially like for me living in Florida. It's hot as heck right now. It's 95 degrees with like 90% humidity. Like my clothing is very minimal, so it makes it a lot harder to conceal. But going back to what you're saying as far as the fear and discomfort, like once you carry on, oh my gosh, everybody knows. It's the same thing when you carry on your body. And so there's memes all over the internet that's like, first time you carry out in public and you're constantly like adjusting your clothing and kind of seeing if people notice. Honestly, 90% of the
right,
population is not really going to be paying attention.
right.
And the people who are other concealed carry people usually, and they'll kind of maybe like acknowledge it. But for the most part, most people aren't paying attention. It's more of us being like super paranoid, or like as women, we're so self-conscious about our bodies. So now we're carrying this gun on our waist. Oh my God, it makes me look like I have a fupa. Now it makes me look a little pregnant or bloated, or like there's so many other things that come with it now too,
Mm-hmm.
as far as, you know, being uncomfortable with it, being nervous to maybe start carrying with around loaded in the chamber while it's on your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3, like that paranoia that everybody knows and they're gonna report you.
That's true. Speaking of having like a safety or not, like if you're carrying on your body,
Mhm.
I don't have a safety on mine. Let's say you do have a safety, do you recommend keeping that on?
Again, that's another personal preference thing, and it's funny because I just did a video on that on TikTok
Mm.
before my got banned recently. That sucks. Different story. But I was training with my Taurus, and I pulled and I dropped to my back to like a tactical defensive position, and I went to shoot, and it's just like click, like nothing happened because I forgot to click the safety off. And so that's where like kind of clicked for me. I'm like, I don't think I like a safety. And I had a safety because of the way I carried my gun in my purse. My fear was like, oh my gosh, my keys or something's going to pull the trigger in my purse, until I'm like, put it in a holster. Don't be stupid. Don't be unsafe. But that was my mindset prior to all this education. So now that I've gotten a lot more comfortable with firearms, I personally don't like a safety for that reason, because I don't want that extra step to hinder that split second moment where it is life or death. But there's a lot of people who love the safety and they train with it. So when they dry fire, part of their dry fire practice is coming out and clicking off that safety as getting ready to shoot.
Okay.
So to each their own, and you'll have people argue, no, you're stupid for carrying a safety, like your trigger finger is your safety. And then you get the people that are like, no, I train with it in my dry fire practice, so therefore it works for me. So
Mm. That's good. That makes sense, because if you're like, if I don't have a safety, and if I, had one but didn't train with it,
mhm.
but then was using it, within the purse or wherever I had it, it would make it a lot more difficult to using it right away if I never trained with it. So that makes sense. I didn't think of
At
it that way.
the end of the day, your trigger finger and your brain, like that's your safety.
Mhm.
So that's why you practice too, being conscious, and that's in the 4 universal rules. Like you don't pretty much put your finger on the trigger until you've made a conscious decision to shoot your threat or target or whatever. So that's kind of my argument on it. This is your biggest safety, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you not to carry a safety. If that's what you like, that's what you're comfortable with, that's what you train with, and that's what works for you, cool. You do you. You do what works for you.
Are there any ways you would say, okay, definitely this is not how you should carry?
Um, just floating around in your purse, like I was talking about, like just taking it and just like dumping it in your tote bag in the same pocket as all your other shit that's flying around in your purse. Like super unsafe, because then you're going to be digging for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's definitely an unsafe way,
Mm-hmm.
of course. Then I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. So this always is a question of, should I carry with a round in the chamber or should I not? And that you'll hear most people in the 2A industry say, oh yeah, you need to have one in the chamber because it's faster. It's a split second, again, reaction. Not having one chambered, are you going to be fast enough to chamber one and then come up on target and shoot in a life or death situation? So again, that does sometimes come down to a comfort thing. We tell our students, like, build up to it. Ideally, we would like to have you be comfortable enough to carry with one in the chamber,
Mm-hmm.
for that reason. But at the same time, we don't want to deter you from not carrying at all because you're not ready to carry with one in the chamber yet. Because I've seen videos, it was a pregnant woman and some guy was like attacking her husband in the parking lot. It was on like security footage from the gas station. And she had time to reach into her purse, pull it out and rack one, and then shoot the guy that was attacking her husband. But that's where you also get into where you can, what if every scenario that could ever exist? Well, what if, he already had hands on him? What if this? What if that? Well, shoot, you could what if everything all day long. You're never going to have a solid answer, and you're never going to be 100% ready for the perfect scenario. So you may encounter a situation where you do have time to pull out, rack one, and go, or someone may already have hands on you, and you're like, damn, I wish I could just pull and shoot from the hip, but now I got to rack one and take that extra half to 1 second to rack one into the chamber. So
Yeah, that's
Love the
good.
argument itself.
Yeah. And I haven't, like, truthfully, like, I've been training having to rack one into the chamber because, like, to me, I was okay. I don't have a safety. This is kind of like my next step up. And, like, I've only been training since like January consistently, so it's not like I have a whole bunch of years, under my belt. But I wouldn't let that stop me. I wouldn't say, oh, because I'm not ready to have one in the chamber, I can't carry a gun at all, right? That would defeat me being able to build up to being able to do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's like kind of a thing I didn't even think about. I kind of thought like no one had one in the chamber. I guess that was just me.
I think
But
there's a lot more people who don't carry with one in the chamber, but they say they do. I'm just going to be completely honest. But like I said, ideally, because then if you think of the situation, if someone is coming close,
Mhm.
that's why we like, even in the police academy, like teaching a hip shot is very common. So like you haven't even punched out to come up on target yet. If you're carrying on appendix or on your side, and literally before you come out, your elbow's coming down, and you might have to take a shot from this position. So you don't really have time to rack one into the chamber because you're literally coming from your place of concealment or
Mhm.
open carry, and you're shooting here before you even have time to come here. Or think about maybe you got groceries in one hand and you're able to get to your firearm with the other hand. Now you got to drop whatever in your hand to rack one and then shoot your threat. So
Right.
like I said, ideally at the end of the day, carrying with one in the chamber is going to be faster and better for a fast scenario. But again, like we talked about, I would not carry at all just because you haven't gotten to that level yet. And what
Yeah.
helps is carrying around your house. Like do your daily chores with your gun on you in the house, chambered, where you're less likely to encounter a threat, but you start building that comfort.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should start doing that. And then the health what? Are
Plus,
there
it helps you build, like, get used to how it's going to be positioned, how it feels, and then you may learn whether you do or don't like that specific way of carrying.
right, right. Are there any other ways you said like having it in your purse, just with everything, right?
Mhm.
Big no. Any other areas where you're like probably maybe even not your favorite? Besides, I guess we know again the bra strap's probably not your favorite either.
I mean, it really just comes down to training with it. There's a lot of people who ankle carry.
Ankle,
Um, yeah, they make ankle holsters. Now you'd have to wear like big flared pants or like sweatpants.
right?
So that's an option. I've seen a lot of women do that. Now it's a lot slower. Not a lot. Like you're really counting half a second to seconds when it comes to different draws.
Hmm.
But again, that could be life or death. But some women, ankle carry like those outfits that are the cute crop top with like the big flowy like beach pants.
Hmm.
You can hide an ankle carry down there, and then you just have to practice kind of like taking a knee and drawing from your ankle from that ankle strap. So that's another option. Not that I would say it's unsafe, but and you have to work with your clothing because I've seen some women carry like appendix or waist with like a really long flowy skirt or dress, and then they pull the whole thing up,
Oh
and
wow.
it's a whole process in itself trying to like yank
Yeah.
a whole piece of fabric up to then draw or whatever. At the end of the day, I'd probably just rather like reach into my pants somehow. And they make a
Yeah.
product. It's called the Filster Enigma, and this is one that men and women, a lot of people who swear by the Filster Enigma, because it's like, not gonna lie, it's like a chastity belt that you can conceal like completely below the waistband, so it doesn't clip under the waistband,
Mhm.
but it goes underneath your pants. And I got one for myself. I ended up actually exchanging with a friend for her SIG fanny pack that I wear to the gym now, because it didn't really work for me with my type of clothing. It only worked with like sweatpants because it was just too bulky, like in that fupa area. So it gave me a big old fupa um, with my Glock. So I was like, well, if I can only wear this with sweatpants, I can use one of these with sweatpants, and I don't need this whole inner chastity belt contraption with the leg leash. So there's like a strap that also goes around your thigh that holds it in place. So when you draw, because it pulls the bolster up, so that leg leash keeps the whole thing attached to your body, if that makes sense. It's
Uh,
kind of hard to explain
yeah.
without showing it,
No, that
but YouTube or Google the Filster Enigma, and that's an option. But there's thousands of people out there who absolutely love it. So,
yeah.
you know,
I
but it's also
One
expensive.
where with like skirts or dresses, maybe like around like knee height, a little bit lower, and it's like the biker shorts,
Yeah.
but concealing like upper thigh,
Mhm.
maybe like kind of your thigh. Haven't tried it yet, but that seems like a good option for if you're wearing something
Yeah.
flowy and want to carry like in a purse or putting it like in your bra is really not optimal like for what you're wearing.
Right. Yeah, a lot of women I've seen have, I don't know if it's Dean Adams or Danae Adams. I don't
Mhm.
know how the proper way of pronouncing it, but she makes a biker short
Mhm.
that goes underneath, and then there's holster on the inside of the thigh and the outside. And then I think it comes with like a little holster for it for trigger protection, and then it slides into that pocket. So I've seen that, but I've tried just my own like at home made thigh holster, and I cannot wear it in between my thighs. Like, it was so annoying having my thighs rubbed together with all of that going on, and then it's like poking up into places that it didn't need to be poking. I was like, okay, I don't wear dresses often enough to make this a thing for me, so
Yeah.
this is my option for that kind of an outfit.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to end on. It's like you conceal in the way that makes the most sense for you. Like I wouldn't I have like one or two dresses. Like I don't wear dresses a lot, so that would be kind of dumb for me to use too. That's why I use this Indira bag a lot because I'm always kind of like in athleisure wear and I'm comfortable with that. And the other bag I have, I can't remember the brand, it's like an Italian brand or something, and that's like my like fancier one.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're going out, and I kind of go between those two. I don't really carry any other way because that's what's comfortable
Yeah.
for my lifestyle and makes the most
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you'll still get the haters that are like, oh, off body, it's gonna get stolen. They're gonna use your own gun against you. Like, I've literally heard everything. But train with it, and then no matter how you carry, if you choose to carry, that should automatically spike your situational awareness. And
Mhm.
I feel like it does. I notice when I'm carrying, whether it's in my purse or even on me, like it automatically makes my situational awareness increase, and I'm way more just aware of what's going on because I can feel it, especially if it's on my body. Like you can feel it. You don't really forget about it. You can always feel it. So you're always consciously knowing, oh, I've got this, life-saving tool on me at all times, and it kind of just makes you more, more aware of what's going on, which I think is helpful. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I definitely feel like when I'm not carrying, I'm just like, oh, just not even thinking about anything. Oh, I do carry. I'm like, I need to be on on par here and not, not wasting, but just like you said, you have a tool. I want to if I have to use it, and
Mhm.
being not alert and then needing it and then forgetting I had it or fumbling because I haven't been training with it and then not being able to use it in the time I need to, that would be, obviously unfortunate. And so just something that we could do as people that carry is just train with it more and get
Mhm.
really comfortable with it.
Yep, you want it to get to the point where it's as comfortable as like your phone, like it just goes everywhere with you. For when you can take it, obviously there's places you can't. And that's what I love too about this bag is I can like casually kind of have my hand already here, like in the pocket. Like when I'm pumping gas, my hand's on it, ready to go just in case. Because people aren't really gonna look at me paying attention to what I'm doing. Or like when I walk home with my groceries, because I live within walking distance of the store, I got my groceries in one hand and my hand is literally just in it, just resting, or it's already kind of like at the magnet. So if I need to, I can just pop that open.
Mm-hmm.
I practice dropping my things, and get to it and go if I need to. So that's another reason I like this bag. You can't just like walk around with your hands in your pants on your gun. Like if you're wearing an appendix carry. I mean, you could, but it's weird, you know?
Yes, a lot less incognito.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add in before we?
I mean, I just hope to encourage as many women as possible to just, at least consider it. If you're not carrying yet, just consider, maybe going taking a class or a women's class if there's one in your area and getting to that point, working in law enforcement and just seeing how our society is just like
Mhm.
taking a big fat crap on itself right now. Like women need to be prepared and armed, at least with something, even if it's not a firearm. It's have something with you at all times. It's so important.
Yeah, and I would add get your body to an ability to where you can do those things. Because I said this last time, I was in the concealed carry class for women. There was a woman in there, and she was in a kneeling position because there were so many of us in class, and it was her turn to go learn how to like just correctly, hold a fire. Couldn't get off the ground. And I was like, if she was in a situation where her on the floor or computer came in and let's say she was, cleaning on the floor, picking up, the odds of her surviving, unfortunately, would be minimal because she didn't have the strength to do that. So it's hand in hand. Having something you can protect yourself with, but making sure your body even is in the capacity, the ability to get out of that situation. I think they're very go hand in hand. So making sure we're capable is important.
Yep, I completely agree. Because then, too, once you let your body go like that and you aren't physically capable, then people do make the excuse, oh, well, someone can't outrun my bullet. Well, depending on the situation, your gun may not be, a good idea in that situation, depending on like your state laws or, what the circumstances are. Don't just rely on you being able to pull your gun in a situation because that might not be warranted, and you are going to have to rely on your physical ability instead.
Yeah, and you're always going to be more alert. I think back to like when I was really sick and just obviously not eating well, was in like a depression bubble being sick. If you were to ask me to do something really quick, like even driving, I think back, I'm like my reflexes were not fast. Like you are just more alert when you are healthier. So even from a standpoint of like, oh, my bullet's faster, I can imagine your response time, your ability to assess a situation, your situational awareness is probably not as high as it could be if you were healthy and just in a better state of mind and health in
Yep,
general.
absolutely. I agree with all of that. Mm-hmm.
Preach. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm sure we'll have something else interesting to talk
Yeah.
about next month and eventually get you on the podcast again.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be here.
Well, thanks guys for watching, and drop a comment if you enjoyed this and want us to talk about something else. All right, bye.
Bye.